Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I'm Sean, this uneducated gamer playing Football Manager 2015, and we are continuing our Australian Dynasty save. I know I cheekily said that I would probably only record one video a day, but I'm going to record two today, just because I haven't actually played that many games so far in this season, and I desperately want to. First things first though, I am going to save the game, and we will save this as Melbourne City. There's nothing more that I hate when you're watching Football Manager content and you watch someone play the actual games that they do live and they struggle to get past teams, or they draw or they lose, and they go off screen and play a bunch of games and they've won, like, come back and they say, oh, I just won 10 in a row. And I'm always like, bullshit. No, you didn't. You're not that good at this game. So I'm going to endeavour to save probably at the start of maybe every second or third episode, maybe. And I'll show you this game status at the start. So you can see here, Melbourne City, 10th of October is today's game date. That's where we're saving. We played for 2 hours and 18 minutes, which is about right. We went through the whole preseason, plus all the other crap that I forced into that very first video. And I also went and made dinner and all that sort of stuff as well. So been playing for a couple of hours now. And I'll check in so you guys can see that I'm saving it every couple of games and not cheating and reloading until we win every game. First game of the season though, we need to switch our focus to Sydney FC. They are a very good side. They were actually involved in the grand final this most recent season. It was them versus Melbourne Victory. They got absolutely trashed in that game, but they had a very talented squad. Known as Hollywood FC or FC Hollywood, or our version of it in Australia. They usually have the biggest marquees in the country. The very first season in the A-League, they had Dwight York, ex-Manchester United striker, that came back and played for a bit. More recently, they've had Alessandro Del Piero, who played for them for 2 years and was phenomenal during that period. But really, their squad was very top-heavy. They had him and a bunch of kids playing around him just to keep their budget under wraps. And most recently, Mark Janko, the big Austrian captain of the national side, played as their target man. He's not in this version because we have got the updated squads in, so they've got other players that we'll have to watch out for, but we'll keep an eye on them. Unfortunately, we've got juniors away with the national side. We have Luke Gallo, who's one of our youth team players, Stefan Mork, Jacob Melling and Ben Garuccio all away with the Australian under-19 side. They are competing at the under-19 Asian Championships, so they're not going to be available for the first two games of the season, which is a bit of a bummer, but hopefully that Australian side can go out there and play well. Three of those players, Garuccio, Mork and Melling, are all in the starting lineup, so I'm hoping if the team does well that we'll get a bit of a bonus to their development through that, and to be honest with you, none of them were likely to start this first game anyway. Tano Valafi currently carrying a knock, which isn't great. He should return to fitness in one day, which I'm hoping he will in time for the Sydney match tomorrow. Nothing wrong with Marco Stevania. He got a clean sheet in the one game he's played this pre-season, which was against Far North Queensland in the FFA Cup, and he was absolutely fine. He didn't concede, but they didn't have a lot of shots. I'd rather not play him against Sydney though, if we can avoid it. And Eli Babal still working his way back to full fitness after that sports hernia that he picked up early in the season. We'll likely give Corey Gamero the run out because he's going to be playing against his old club. And hopefully that can, be a bit of an incentive for him to go out and stuff a few in the back of the net. He has been in good form in the matches during pre-season. But enough talking, let's get to the actual games. I'm going to try and name our first choice starting lineup and we'll see how we look from there. So outside of the injuries to Babal and Valafi, we do have a virtually first choice side to name. Despite only being at 74% conditioning and carrying a knock, I'm going to play Valafi ahead of Stevania. Just because I think he's a bit better. Well, I don't think he is. He's a lot better, but I'm just going to go with stability for this time out. Starting backline will be Zulo, Lowry, Chapman and Franich. That's pretty much a first choice lineup there. Partly will anchor the midfield with Moy and Hurd ahead of him. Hurd being 25, Moy being 24, they could very realistically play together for the next 7-8 years in that centre of the park. Partly will of course take the captain's armband for the first time in a competitive fixture in the league. Vidicic and Edwards will start on the wings. They're going to start the season as our preferred choices there, though we do have Garuccio coming back into the side who may push for this left wing position. I do love having left-footed players on the left-hand side, and it is a role that Vidicic is slowly learning over the course of pre-season. Gamero gets a nod up top with Babal's injury, and given that he's playing against his old side, I'm hoping we can kind of ride that to a good performance and a couple of goals from him. But they are a very good team, one that we will have to be switched on with. And thankfully, we've gotten through pre-season, and everyone's pretty accomplished with the formation and their roles within that, so we should be good to go. See here though, Gamero, 5 goals in his opening 2 appearances, but albeit against lower league opposition in the FFA Cup, still impressive. And we've gone with Stevania, Clisby, Rattray, Marino and Kisnorbo on the bench. I'm probably going to mix that up actually and take Kisnorbo off for Espandola, purely because Clisby can play at fullback and in the centre as well. Rattray can cover the right hand side and the roles in midfield, Espandola to cover the 2 wings and Marino to cover up top. Sounds good enough to me, so let's get to the match and we'll have a look at what their starting lineup is as well. As I mentioned in the previous game, we are playing with updated databases, so this is their updated squad for the upcoming season. A couple of players we'll have to watch out for. It looks like their new marquee player, Filip Polosko, isn't available, which is great for us, but they do have quality in Milos Dimitrijevic, an ex-Serbian youth international. Awesome technical ability. Despite being 30 years old, one of the better midfielders in the league. He will get around the pitch a fair bit, but once he's on the ball, he'll control games as much as possible. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. He's going to be sitting in the hole for them. Michael Tavares is another one that we have to watch out for. A Senegalese international, 31 years old, just a bundle of energy, really good defensive midfielder. He kicks people, he goes up for headers, wins a whole lot of them, and good passing range and technique for a player playing at the base of midfield. Sas Ognanovski we'll have to watch out for. He's an ex-Australian international, 22 caps, 1 goals, 35 years of age. Despite that, in 2011, he actually won the Asian Player of the Year, which is equivalent to the... so it's like the Asian version of the best player in Europe. Seongnam, his side that he was playing for in Korea at the time, won the Asian Champions League, and he was a big driving force behind that, both with goals from defence and also keeping clean sheets in that. So he actually won the Player of the Year, which is pretty rare for an Australian. I think he was the first one to actually do it, which is excellent. So a few players that we'll have to watch out for, and given the quality of their international players in Dimitrijevic, Tavares and Abbas, it could be a good marker as to how we'll go playing against sides with international players. However, it does look like they've picked up a few injuries and stuff as well, so it might be a good time to play them. And I'm pretty formulaic with my team talks and everything. I'm usually assertive away from home, calm at home, passionate after a good win, and aggressive if we're losing at half time. Given that we're away, it's the first game of the season, I'm just going to assertively tell everyone to enjoy themselves today. Looks like Gamero's responded well, which is great. Could use a good performance from him. And season 2014-15 has now kicked off. Hopefully we don't go 2-0 down in the first 10 minutes or anything. I'm fairly certain that's just a kick-off highlight, and it is. Gamero comes forward now. It's a good tackle though from Tavares at the base of midfield. Tidied up by Hurd. To Vidicic, who can strike. Oh, and he's got to do better from there. He skipped past everyone and then just put it straight at Janjetovic in the Sydney FC goal. That is very disappointing. But we have gotten outside of the open 15 minutes without going 3-0 down or anything stupid like that. Let's check out the match stats. See here, 50-50 possession. Given that we're playing a short passing game, I'd expect us to probably shade that whether we're home or away. But only one shot, one on target, was that one that we saw from Vidicic. And 2 shots, none on target for Sydney. So hopefully that means our deep defensive line is forcing them to take shots from distance, which I'm absolutely okay with. Grant with the ball now on the right-hand side to Tavares back in the middle. And you can see first time picks out Grant with a pretty solid pass. Rye with the ball in, but it's tidied up by Lowry. Moy calm as you like to Hurd. He's played a ball over the top, but that's not really our game. Plus there wasn't anyone up there, so not ideal. Grant with the ball now, squared to Tavares. Finds Dimitrijevic, who we highlighted before the game, to Stan Bolziev, and he has a shot from a dead angle that takes a deflection. Goes out for a corner. Their first strike in anger. Dimitrijevic with the corner in now. Don't know what happened there, but Franic has cleared it away. Looked like Ognanovski was in the area, but thankfully he did nothing with it. Edwards with the corner for us now. He's gone front stick. It's headed away, but only as far as Gamero. Finds Edwards again. It's a ball into Vidicic, and Vidicic has gotten a goal on his league debut. His first ever goal for the club. He did play in one FFA Cup game, so it's not quite a goal on his full debut for the senior side, but this is lovely. Gamero finds Edwards, who stays on side, whips a good ball in, and it's a great run from Vidicic. Sydney will be pissed that it hit the deck. He's put it just on target, and thankfully Janjetovic in the Sydney goal can't get there. So we go 1-0 to the good. 3 shots, 3 on target. Oh, 4 and 3. As soon as I say it, of course it bloody changes, but that's pretty solid. Assertively, things are going well, but I know you're capable of even better. Seems like a good response. No one's responded particularly positively or poorly. And it looks like only Ivan Franic has gone backwards in his score. I'm not sure what... Oh, and Zula as well. So our fullbacks aren't playing that well, but that's fine. Hopefully they can turn it around a little bit in the second half. And we do have subs that we can make in both position, given around the hour mark if they're not playing that well. Hoping this just kick-off highlight, and Partaloo slides in well and puts that one out for a throw. Woodcock. His name's Woodcock, and I still fucked it up. He's got the greatest name ever. Well, it's headed away, but not that well. Tavares with a wonderful strike. That is a very, very good goal. His first ever goal for Sydney and first goal for the season. Let's have a look at that one again on a replay. We've got a great angle for it. So no clean sheet in the first game of the season. Chapman heads it away here, and Tavares is just the first one to the ball. And he looks like he's going nowhere, but somehow gets a strike on target and puts that one perfectly into the top corner. You have to wonder, would a fully fit Tando Valafi have gotten there? I'm not going to punish him too much for it. It's a pretty good strike, to be fair. Lowry with a free kick in now. It's headed away, but only as far as Franic. Franic strikes from distance, and that is high, wide, and not so handsome. We are getting towards the hour mark now. I might have a look at which players are performing well and which aren't. I've already been bitten twice in pre-season friendlies by making subs too early in games. I'm going to keep the faith with Connor Chapman, despite him only being on a 6.2. Might take off Gamero and push Vidicic up front. He can play that role. Actually, do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. We'll stick with Gamero and Vidicic, and I might bring Edwards off for Paolo Retro. We'll give him a shout on the right wing. He can fulfill that role if need be. And I might bring Zullo to the right, and we'll take Franish off for Clisby. So we've got a left-footed player playing at right back, but that's fine. We'll give him a chance there assertively. No pressure. He's only 21, so I don't want to raise too much expectation. And Clisby's 22, so I think there's more to come. He's looked happy, so 1 out of 2 isn't too bad. And we'll keep one sub up our sleeve just in case anyone picks up an injury, or we'll save it for the last 10 minutes. Leo with a free kick now, and that is not very pretty. Don't know why he's taking him. I should have Aaron Moy set up on him. He's not the best at him, but I like Aaron Moy. I want him to take everything when he can. Moy with a lovely ball there to Vidicic, who cuts inside. Good tackle from Ryle, but Partaloo tidies up well in that anchorman role. So an overlap and run if Vidicic can find it. He can't. He plays back to Moy. It's a dummy from Gamero. Hit the deck. Oh, Jesus, how's that not gone in? Gamero gets tackled twice in the box. It falls to Vidicic, and he puts it straight at the keeper. Finishing training for everyone, I think. Vidicic with the ball in now. Lowry's taken a heavy touch in the corner. He's gotten the ball back across. It's a good strike from Partaloo, but it's over, unfortunately, just a shade. 10 minutes to go. What subs can we make here? Let's push Vidicic up and have Gamero come off for Espandola. So we'll have Retro and Espandola on the wings, 2 teenagers there, and Vidicic, who has finished our 1 goal so far, up there. I'm going to say pressure's off to him. 10 minutes. Make a name for yourself, Espandola. What can you do? Right, goal kick now from Valafi. He seems to have gotten through the majority of the game despite having that knock. Moy with the ball forward now to Vidicic. Just needs to get his head up. He's struck from distance, and that's not really what we need from him. Janjetovic holds pretty comfortably in the 84th minute. It's a long one forward to cut out by Hurd. Vidicic just needs to find feet here and not do anything silly. Instead, he's done something silly and put it out. So maybe we don't play him up front because he's just going to shoot whenever he gets it. He had good runs there from the 2 wingers. They cut him well. Retro with the ball now. Skips past one. Has a little bit of space. Needs to get his head up. Gets it in early times. Vidicic, and Jesus Christ, how has he not fucking finished that? Dario, you're killing me, mate. How many fucking chances do you need? Retro with the ball again. That was a lovely pass in from him. Hurd with a heavy touch, and it's cleaned up by Brandon O'Neill for Sydney. But he's got nothing on, so he switches to Clisby. Let's go forward, lads. Come on, Vidicic, bring others into play. Bring others into play. And does with Moy. There's an overlapping run, but Tavares with a very good tackle on Aaron Moy, just as he was looking to release. And the referee calls full time. Well, I can't fucking complain. We had enough chances. Assertively, I'm happy. I'll be positive with it because Sydney are a good side, and to go to their ground and be better than them isn't something that I should be particularly negative about. But fuck me, Dario Vidicic, how many chances do you need, man? Had 2 crackers that he shoot, he just put them both straight at the keeper. One he put wide, frustrating. Gamero didn't have the greatest of games, and I kind of thought that might happen given that he's only 21 and not fully there technically. So, might be a development season for him, but at least we have Babal coming back into full fitness to play up front. And Vidicic managed to get the goal to set us on our way. So he looks a little bit more comfortable in that left wing role. Can't play him up front though, because he just fucking shoots as soon as he gets it. It's really frustrating. But you can see here, had more of the ball despite playing away from home. 13 shots, sits on target. I set 50% of his shots on target as being kind of the standard at an A-League level. And I guess we're kind of in line with that. So it's not a win, but given the quality of the opposition and the difficulty of the away trip, I guess 1-1 isn't anything to sneeze at. But let's change our focus now because we've got a game in 2 days, our FFA Cup Quarter Final. Let's do the post-match press conference here. Dario Vidicic got his first goal, and it's vital to give him a newfound belief and confidence. Some criticism, extreme physicality. It's the first game of the season. Ridiculous. We're not that type of side. We just play high pressing. We don't kick people. Michael Tavares, yes, he was. I thought he played well, but he wasn't outstanding or anything. He just got a goal. Never rule anything out, though I'm not looking to sign anyone at the moment. It was a fantastic strike, Tavares. Great goal. And great time to score just before half-time. Graham Arnold just defended me. I was going to start a feud with Graham Arnold, but now maybe I won't. Or maybe I still will. I haven't quite decided. We'll see what happens there. But given it's early in the season and there's a few players that are struggling for fitness early on in the year, I'm going to give everyone 1 day's rest. Just one. So they'll have Sunday off, and then we'll do like a half session the day before match as our pre-match training and a half session the day of the Heidelberg Utd game as our warm-up. And hopefully that gives everyone a bit of the boost to their fitness. Okay, so a bit of background on Heidelberg Utd, our FFA Cup opponent. They actually used to play in the old NSL, the National Soccer League, which you can see here, which ran from, I think, 1974 to 2004. It was the highest league structure at the time in Australia, but it had massive, massive issues during that period. A lot of the clubs had ethnic backgrounds, and by that I mean, like, I think Heidelberg's is maybe Macedonian, maybe. So teams like, we actually played a fair few of them. So teams like South Melbourne played in the old NSL. They're a Greek side. They used to be known as South Melbourne Hellas, but they changed their name to incorporate other players. For a long time in the 70s, they only played Greek players, that you couldn't play for them if you were like Australian or... not Australian, that's horrendous. If you were, like, they weren't getting any like English or Asian or African players in. It was just Greek-based players. Teams like Oakley Cannons also went in and out of the NSL during that time. Fairly certain Heidelberg were Macedonian. Northcote were, I think, Greek as well. Melbourne Knights, the other big side in Melbourne who we didn't play during pre-season, was the Croatian side. And there were various teams all across Australia, some in Sydney that had similar ethnic affiliations, some in Brisbane as well. And it made for kind of like a nasty league. It wasn't one that you could go and watch. I only went to a couple of games in the old NSL back in the day before it folded, and they weren't friendly. Like, Greeks and Croatians sort of going at each other during big games and that sort of thing. So it wasn't the friendliest environment, and the league itself was backwards. They were largely community clubs, so there wasn't a whole bunch of money. Due to the crowd violence, TV stations didn't want to pick up the NSL and display the games on TV because it just wasn't the greatest standard in the world. And of course, you couldn't really support South Melbourne if you weren't from the Greek community. You can now, you absolutely can now, but back throughout history there were times when you couldn't go to a game unless you were Greek. So the A-League was formed as a replacement for the National Soccer League with 8 foundation sides, which doesn't sound like a lot when you compare it to European football and everything, but when you're starting a league from scratch, 8 sides is pretty fantastic, and it's been wonderful. So at the time, Melbourne Victory were the only side in Victoria, and I was actually a Victory Foundation member, though I absolutely hated it. I went to like 3 games, and they had one supporters group, which was the old Melbourne Knights guys, the old Croatian supporters, and one group which was the old South Melbourne supporters, and they hated each other. They wouldn't chant together. They sat in different sections of the same end. It was really weird. It was a strange vibe to be a part of, and of course I was oblivious to it. I didn't know anything about their history, so I didn't go back after that first season and didn't really follow them anymore after that, other than watching the odd game on TV. And then once Melbourne Heart was introduced as a second Melbourne side, I thought I'd jump back on board again, and I've been a Foundation member of Melbourne Heart since their inception, and now, of course, for the last 2 seasons, Melbourne City as well. So that's a bit of a background on Heidelberg and the old National Soccer League and how they used to be in the top tier of Australian football. They now, of course, play in NPL Victoria, which stands for National Premier League Victoria. There's one of those in Victoria, New South Wales, Sydney, Western Australia, and they are the tier directly beneath the A-League. So they are only one level beneath where we are playing. So they should be a little bit of a step up in opposition on the other sides that we've played in the FFA Cup. This is the very first year of the FFA Cup. In the real world, it was won by Adelaide United. They beat Perth Glory in the final. More than deserved winners, but given that this is the in-game save, we have the opportunity to win the very first one and add the first trophy to the cabinet for Melbourne City. I'm going to go just with who is the fittest at the moment. Looks like Franic and Vidicic and Partaloo have all recovered very well with that extra day off. Falaf is still working his way back from injury. We'll give him some time. Might give Babal the opportunity to get off the mark in a competitive fixture here. And we'll have Moy and Hurd continue in the middle, though that may designate exactly what substitutions we make. Whoever is the most fit will stay on. So the only change from that first game against Sydney will be Babal coming in for Gamero, though it's the FFA Cup, so we get 7 on the bench. It's nice to have an FFA Cup in Australia. I know there's an extra F, which makes it sound weird, but it's cool having really any team. My local team that I played for, we actually did really well in the Cup. We're at the bottom level. Like, you literally can't play at any lower level in Victoria, but we still managed to beat sides in divisions above us, including one that was 4 divisions above us, which was really cool. I didn't play in that game. I'm not that fucking good, but it was an impressive thing to be a part of as part of the club. They've got a couple of players we'll have to watch out for. Daniel Vasilevsky used to play for Melbourne Victory back in the day, back in the early throes of the A-League. Pretty solid left or right defender. Apparently they're saying that he's a fullback. He's not. Stephen Pace also played for Melbourne Victory back in the day for 3 years. Jesus Christ, 8 appearances in 3 years. So you can see the kind of player he was, but he looks relatively solid at this level. Joe Keenan is an ex-Chelsea junior. Started his career there, came back, played for Melbourne Victory for 1 season, then with South Melbourne in NPL, then at Adelaide, and then back at South Melbourne, now at Heidelberg. So he's going to have decent ability on the ball, you'd think. And you can see from his technical ability there, despite playing at a lower level and being 32, still pretty solid looking at the base of that midfield. So they're not going to be a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. We will have to play at our best to get past them. But really, they're lower league opposition. I would expect us to comfortably get past these guys. I'm going to say expect nothing but a win. And everyone seems to have responded pretty well. No one's listening nervously or anything like that. And we'll have to keep an eye on Moy and Babal, who are the only two below that 90% conditioning mark that I kind of set for all my sides. Love to get a clean sheet here after that cheap goal we conceded. Oh, not cheap goal, it was a wonder strike, but really, you hate losing to wonder strikes. Edwards with the corner in now. Hurd's gone up, knocked it down. Zulo's tackled and Keenan hacks the ball away. I've got to change our corner taker. I want it to be Aaron Moy. Here he is on a free kick now, though, and that one is just a shade over. It's closer than Shane Lowry got with any of his chances in the last game. Dumbulis with a throw up the line to whoever that was. Joe Keenan, who we spoke about before the match. It's a great ball over the top. Finds a way, and we have gone 1-0 down to lower league opposition. Ruben Way latches on to Joe Keenan's punt over the top, on his wrong foot too. Looks perfectly weighted. It's a well-timed run. Laffy's angles are all fucking wrong there, and really should be saving that one. Alright, 9th minute. We've gone 1-0 down for the first time in the season. Let's see how the team responds. Moy immediately plays it forward to Vidicic, who goes down under Vasilevsky's challenge. Played up the line, but it's a great tackle from Zulo. Comes square to Moy. Needs to get his head up. Just slow down. You got Hurd there if you need him. Plays it all the way back to Partaloo. And back to Moy. Finds Babal with a good strike, and that one's just screwed wide of the right-hand post. Dario Vidicic has picked up an injury. That isn't good. Who can we bring on at left wing? Let's see what Paolo Retro looks like in that spot. Not very good, so we'll undo him. And Hernan Espandola, despite being probably the worst player in our squad, keeps getting opportunities in the first team. You can see he's rated as average, but he can play that position better than anyone else we have in the side at the moment. Oh, actually, no. No. Undo that. Undo. Let's push Zulo on. Let's push Zulo on to right wing, because he's left-footed and awesome. And we'll bring on Clisby at left fullback. That seems like a solid substitution, rather than throwing a 19-year-old out there. Not when we're 1-0 down, anyway. I think there's a lot more to come. He's not responded well. It worked last time on him, so. Alright, how will the team respond to going a goal down and now a man down? Lowry with the free kick here. That is horrendous. I've got to change the free kick takers. Edwards with the corner in now. It's a good one. Finds front stick. Lowry flicks it on, and Chapman gets his second goal of the season. First one was in an FFA Cup fixture, so he now has 2 in that competition, and we thankfully draw level. Oh, the longer that would have gone on, the more nerve-wracking it would have been. Lowry gets up well at front post. We seem to look for front post headers every time we go up, but Chapman, thankfully, first one for the rebound, and he side foots that one home between the keeper on the post and the defender. Edwards with another corner now, goes front stick to Lowry again. Seems like a low percentage ball, but that's fine. Edwards punts it in. It's headed back. Aerial tennis going on here. Moy finds Zulo, and Zulo with the strike. McMaster's forced that one onto the post, and it's hacked away by the Heidelberg defence. Clisby with the throw in now, finds Moy. It's a good ball forward to Zulo. Lovely reverse pass to Babal, and that one goes off a defender and out for a corner. Short Edwards will take and go front stick, and he does. Lowry goes up, but that one is pretty well easily taken out by Ruben Way in Heidelberg United. It's a counter-attack here, but Franich tidies up very, very well. I think Franich started his career with Oakley Cannons in the NPL, so he probably played against Heidelberg during his period there. Probably don't need to tell him to switch on or go out there and fly into tackles. He's probably already got some like old 20-year rivalry that he's had since a kid. Right, so there are some players not really pulling their weight. Partaloo hasn't been great in either match thus far, and Babal hasn't had the greatest of time up front. Assertively, if we get the goal and make us favourites to win. I'm just going to say keep playing the way I've been and the result will come. So a few have responded very well. Chapman isn't listening, but and neither is Hurd. I don't know why they're not listening. It's frustrating when they don't do that, because I don't quite understand why. Maybe it's just our personalities don't match. I'm using the same manager profile that I used in the Bromley save, so we should be good to go. Moy with the free kick now, and that one isn't great either. Wonder if I can put him on an individual regime to work on just his free kicks, so he can just be a danger from that situation. Getting towards the hour mark now. They have only had one shot, but it was on target and it was a goal. We need to find a second one here. Moy skips around one. Challenge finds Zulo in the box, and he, on his wrong foot, just puts that one straight into the defender stand directly in front of him. 18 shots, 7 on target. Not the greatest return in the world. Ryan Edwards has picked up a knock. We just can't fucking catch a break. This time we'll bring on Paolo Retro. He's a bit more comfortable on the right-hand side. Still not the greatest in the world. Actually, you know what? Maybe we can change this. Maybe Franjic can play. We're going to play our fullbacks as wingers. Zullo and Franjic are both bombing on to play the attacking roles. Retro and Clisby will drop in behind them. Assertively, you have the ability to make a difference. Go out there and do it. And he has at least responded well to that. So, good from the youngster. He was one of the last players to sign a new contract. I was trying to get him on a K a week like most of the other players are, but he took 2K because he's greedy. But at least we've signed him to a deal which is less than what he was getting paid before. And we are comfortably under our wage budget for the year as well. Shocker from Lowry there. He hasn't been the greatest with his shots. He's got another free kick now. Heads that one to Retro. He brings it down well. It's a ball across and Moy somehow puts it at the keeper despite having the entirety of the goal to aim at. Corey Gamera is going to come on for Eli Babal, who's not had the greatest game of his life. Assertively, I'm going to tell him you have the ability to make a difference, and he looks happy. So far, he has 5 goals in 3 appearances, all 5 of those in FFA Cup competitions, so maybe he can get the winner for us here. Getting towards extra time now, though. I'd love to stitch this up before we get to extra time. 4 minutes to be added on, and Jesus Christ. Assertively, 1 goal is enough to win this. Keep working hard, and we'll get it. Everyone's responded pretty well. Moy's going to have to push through the pain barrier, as is Hurd, and get through this game. And this extra time, despite being pretty low on the fitness scale. Your second, oh, well, not really. It's our 4th, but after our first game of the season, it's not ideal. Dubas with a throw-in now. Finds Vulgaris. Probably not pronouncing any of these right. I don't care. If you want to correct me, though, you can chuck it in the comment section. Square ball to Soares, or Suarez, or however you want to play it. Keenan with a lovely ball in behind again to McGough, and thankfully he screws his shot into the side netting. 24 shots, 8 on target. That is pathetic finishing. They've now had their second shot. Moy with a free kick now, and that's not even on target. Have we gotten a free kick on target yet? Clisby with the throw in here, plays up line to Moy. Zullo has space, but instead goes square to Hurd, who loses the ball to Keenan, who, despite being 32 and well and truly past it, is giving both Moy and Hurd all sorts of run around in the middle. Clisby with a great ball into Zullo, and that's a good save from Griffin McMaster. Griffin McMaster, his one claim to fame is being in trouble for a racist tweet earlier this season, regarded to an Aboriginal AFL player by the name of Adam Goods. So there you go. He's famous. Not for the right reasons, but he's famous. Oh, come on, lads. We can find a win here. This better not go to penalties. That would be very upsetting. Mainly because I said, oh, here we go. Lowry with free kick. We've got to get 1 on target eventually. Surely between he and Moy, someone can get 1 on target. Had about 15 of the fucking things. Clisby tidies up well, finds Zullo up the line and makes a lovely run. Can Zullo find him though? No. But Moy does. First time asking. It's a deep ball. And Luke Biles with a foul on somebody there. I think it was Gamero. Pardal is going to get a chance to win this one for us from the penalty spot. It's a cheap way to get it, but I'll take it. And that is a good finish. Straight down the middle. Keeper goes the wrong way. And Eric Pardal gets his first goal for Melbourne City FC. Never seen him take a penalty in the real world, but apparently he's got 15 rated pens, according to Football Manager, so he must be pretty good at him. And let's see, let's go 2-1 up. I'm sure we'll slam in 6 goals now in the last 10 minutes or something stupid like that. Here we go. One more highlight. Clisby down the line. Finds Zullo. Made a lovely overlapping run, and Zullo finds him again. Oh, good tackle from Keenan, who has been absolutely fucking everywhere. It's out for a corner, which Moy's now going to take. Front stick, because always. That's just what we do. Zullo looks for Moy again, but that is pathetic and it's gone out. 1 minute to be added on by the referee here. I dare say we're just going to see the whistle go. And Bulgaris punches that one out for a throw-in. 30 seconds remaining now. Clisby takes a throw to Lowry. Plays it forward to Zullo. No turn on. Should just play it back. Zullo looks for a ball over the top to Gamero. To be fair, that's where the run was made. Moy plays it forward to no one in particular. And credit to Heidelberg. They're not. I was about to say they're not punting the ball forward, but that's where their goal came from, and that's what they just did. Valafi comes out and tidies up well. Still yet to get a clean sheet in his 2 appearances so far this season, and we go through a 2-1 victory. Not the best performance in the world. Assertively, good win. I'm not going to complicate it. No need to be a dick. Do you remember at the start of this video when I said there's nothing worse than like you're watching a player play and he scrapes past opponents and then off camera he wins fucking everything? Why do I have a feeling I've jinxed myself and that's about to happen? Because that was pathetic. 3 shots on target. 3 shots for Heidelberg, 1 on target, 43% possession. That's very impressive for a lower league opposition side. We spoke about Joe Keenan in the build-up to the game, and he was an absolute unit. Wrong-footed, ball over the top, perfectly weighted for their first goal. Sees him get an 8.7. And truth be told, when both Moy and heard in the middle were struggling for fitness and conditioning, he was running rings around him despite being 32. So good for him, ex-Chelsea junior. 29 shots on target. 29 shots, 10 on target, 57% of the ball. That might look great, but really it's to be expected. That's what you expect of higher opposition against lower league sides. To only convert 2 of those chances is pretty fucking pathetic, if you be honest. And given that we also had a tremendous amount of chances in that Sydney FC game, Vidicic in particular, to win that one for us, probably not the greatest opening to a series and a season ever. But hey, we're through. We're into the semi-finals. So our schedule looks like we will play that game after the Brisbane Roar match. So we might come back in the next episode and do Melbourne Victory versus Adelaide United. And then maybe the episode after that, Brisbane and our FFA Cup semi-final. We'll see how we go. Decent enough start, an away draw, a tough one against Sydney FC. They are a very good side, and I'd expect them to do well in this competition. And then an extra time victory against our Heidelberg in the FFA Cup. As always though, I've been Sean, this uneducated gamer playing Football Manager 2015. I hope you are enjoying the series so far. I'm not going to beg you for likes or subscriptions though. If you want to, you are more than welcome to. If you have any feedback, positive or negative, chuck it in the comment section below. And any content you want to see in Football Manager, be it this version or the future one once it comes out in November, or on any other game, anywhere really, chuck it in the comment section below, as well as any links to your own YouTube content. I'll go and watch it and give it a like. More than anything, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode, which should be Season 1, Episode 3.